My name is Elia, and it is an honor to be your club vice president, and I would like to officially call this meeting to order. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our guests, and we sincerely hope you will enjoy and learn from this experience. The Future Leaders Gavel Club is a Toastmasters club open to middle and high school students, in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. Each meeting has three parts. The first part of our meeting is the prepared speech section, in which members take the time to prepare a speech and deliver it to the club. The second part of our meeting is the table topic session, where members and guests can participate to practice and improve their impromptu speaking skills by answering questions given by the table topics master with 1 to 2 minute responses. The final part of our meeting is the evaluation portion, where speech evaluators provide feedback on the prepared speeches. Additionally, the functionaries will deliver their reports to help everyone enhance their public speaking skills. To start this meeting tonight, I would like to introduce our Toastmaster of the night, who is Devin. Wait, is Devin here? No. Hmm. Would anyone like to be the Toastmaster? Kayla? Oh, okay, Caleb. So, our Toastmaster of the night is Caleb, who will be guiding us through each segment. Please help me welcome Caleb. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Eliana, for the introduction and for opening our meeting tonight. Hi, everyone. I will be your Toastmaster for today. And to get started, why don't we meet our functionaries who will be helping us improve our public speaking skills throughout tonight's meeting. And the first functionary is going to be our all counter, who today is Henry. Henry, do you think you are able to share with us the all counter's instructions?
The odd counter's role is to find any pauses or filler words in a speech. This includes or like.
Thank you so much, Henry, for that detailed introduction. And next, we will be moving on to the grammarian for tonight's meeting, who is scheduled to be Shelby, but I believe she is unfortunately not able to make it tonight. So would someone who does not have a role or who does have a role like to be tonight's grammarian? Grammarian checks grammar, makes sure that you don't say anything improper. Okay, how about, let me see, who doesn't have, or who's, let me see. Howard, would you be interested in being our grammarian tonight?
I think it might be a bit hard for me to both manage both table topics and grammarian at the same time. If would be, I don't think I can do it. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah, no worries at all. How about Eliana? I know you're general evaluator. Do you think you could throw in grammarian?
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much, Eliana. And then now, I'll give you some time to get the instructions. Looks like Selena unfortunately is not able to make it today as well. So would someone like to be the timer for tonight's meeting? Let me see. Who would be timer? Okay. Henry, do you think you could be our timer tonight?
Uh, okay, but how do I use the timer?
Okay, so to use a timer, you go to the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and
Yeah.
then now there's like an orange rectangle that shows 00000, and then you're going to click the arrow that's right next to that, click the timer app, and then it opens the timer app. And I would recommend you use a stopwatch and not a physical countdown timer, as if you use the countdown timer, it might end before the person stops speaking, and then there's this big commotion. So just use a stopwatch, and then also just remember to use the background so that the speakers also know how they are doing on time.
I don't have the background though.
Um, No worries, you can download them from online. Or you can, if you have something red, green, and yellow, you can simply use those as props.
All right, hold on. I think I can use this one is blue. I'll use this one as green, and this one is red, I guess.
Okay, so why don't we do the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge is red, then your blue background can be yellow, and then the green can be green. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, sounds great. And then, so with that said, we will move on to the speech portion of our meeting tonight. And tonight we have two speakers, Sarang and Claire. So first off, I would like to ask Sarang, do you have a speech introduction or speech title so I can introduce you?
The title of the speech is Are Physical Newspapers Still Relevant Today?
All right. So with that said, I would like to introduce our first speaker of tonight, who is Sarang, and who is joining us from India. And
Wait,
Sarang, go ahead, Henry.
so I timed both the speeches and table topics?
Correct. So you time the speeches, table topics, and the evaluations, as well as the all counter and grammarian report. So
All right, I
everyone
am
is
the all counter.
yes, so you can time yourself.
All right.
So with that said, I would like to introduce Sarang with his speech, Are Physical Newspapers Still Relevant Today? Are physical newspapers still relevant today? Take it away, Sarang. Oh, it seems like Sarang's internet just glitched out, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take to recuperate. But in the meantime, I wanted to ask Claire, do you have your speech introduction and speech title?
Is that
Oh,
physical newspapers are gradually losing their relevance day by day. Speed is a major factor. Digital newspapers provide instant real-time updates, whereas physical newspapers report the previous day's news. So in today's world, where people want to stay connected in real time, waiting for the previous day's news feels like it's outdated. Secondly, convenience also plays a major role. Time through mobile devices, laptops, desktops, and other digital devices. Whereas physical newspaper requires waiting for the newspaper to get delivered and necessary time to read it. And some monthly subscription charges. Environmental factors also affect the decline of physical newspapers. Physical newspapers are printed through paper, and paper is made from woods. So woods, in order to get woods, trees are getting cutted. So people who are environmentally conscious would rather prefer digital newspapers than physical newspapers. By opting for digital newspapers, environmental environmentally conscious people could save many trees from being cut. So, in conclusion, while physical newspapers are not completely irrelevant today, but their declining readership indicates that their popularity is getting faded. So, if this trend continues, there is a strong possibility that in future, physical newspapers may become obsolete. Thank you.
thank you so much, Sarang, for sharing with us that speech about how physical newspapers are becoming obsolete. And that's definitely something very interesting to think about, how as technology changes, so does the most convenient means of communication. So thank you so much, Sarang. Now we'll move to our second speaker, who is Claire. Claire Whenever you are ready, you may begin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caleb. And real quick, just to preface, my speech is going to be around 10 minutes long because I'm just practicing another speech for like a speech and debate competition. And just for some context, usually like it's kind of different from Toastmasters where you talk about for this specific speech, it's about like a social issue, and there are usually like several like concrete examples from like politics and like society and stuff like that. So just to preface, because it is a little bit different than a Toastmaster speech, but if any of you, besides just the speech evaluator, have any like tips for the content of the speech or any of that stuff, you can just private message me anytime and I would love to hear it. Okay, I will get started. On June 15th, 2019, the world was forever changed. 4 new stars made their debut. Not in politics, not in sports, in Pixar's movie Inside Out. And honestly, I didn't even need a ticket because I live with these emotions at home. My mom is joy. She's convinced that a positive attitude can fix anything from bad grades to burnt pasta. My dad is fear. He reads the warranty before plugging in the toaster. My cat? Definitely disgust, especially after my dog joined the family. Oh, and me? I'm anger. Now, if you ask me why anger was my favorite character out of all the more positive emotions I could have chosen, first of all, he's a short king. Second, his bright red tie and classy dress pants, iconic. And third, he says what we're all thinking, just with more fire. Though it seems like I'm not the only one obsessed with anger these days. According to an NPR poll, 84% of people believe that Americans are angrier today compared to a generation ago. And we're seeing where that rage goes. In 2023, someone was injured or killed in a road rage incident every 18 hours. Anger redirected at the nearest driver instead of the real stressors behind the wheel. And look, I'm not here to say that we should quit being angry. After all, anger can help us identify pressing issues that society faces today. But what if our anger isn't always productive? Especially if it's misdirected. So it's time we explore why we've become a nation of misdirected outrage, the costs of seeing red, and some strategies to break this cycle and point our flames in the right direction. According to author Sylvia Lafair, our anger becomes misdirected when it isn't addressed at its source. And today, finding that source has never been harder. 20th century news stories developed over days or weeks. The public had time to process information, reflect, and form logical opinions. But in the 21st century, outrage travels at the speed of a tweet, a viral clip, a headline designed to provoke, often before the real facts are even known. Our misdirected anger also stems from legitimate distresses, economic pressures, health fears, social uncertainties, all of which leave us more desperate for the illusion of control, even if that control fixes nothing. Just this past August, 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White opened fire at the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, convinced he was sick because of the COVID vaccine. But instead of using his energy to care for his personal health, he resorted to violence, leading to the death of a DeKalb County police officer and himself. He misdirected his anger onto those actually trying to help him, as if shooting bullets at a building could cure his sickness. When anger misses its target, it doesn't disappear. It ricochets. Think about it. you bomb a test? Did you email your teacher or yell at your little brother? Your boss criticizes your project. Did you ask for feedback or pick a fight in traffic? But what we dismiss as harmless frustration can actually feed into a dangerous cycle where entire communities become convenient scapegoats. During COVID, instead of directing frustration at a virus or at failed public health systems, anger was displaced onto neighbors, onto classmates, onto strangers who simply looked Asian. This misplaced hatred left scars on my community that still linger today. In 2020, a Hmong American woman named Ely was just sitting in a park when she was brutally attacked by a group of teenagers that slurred her with anti-Asian language. She was kicked, beaten with tree branches, raped, and then killed. Ely was left vulnerable and defenseless, an innocent, visible target of rage and ignorance. And her story is not an exception. It is a pattern, and patterns don't break themselves. So let me ask you, have you ever been the one who fired anger at the wrong person? Or perhaps the one who felt it land on you? Inside Out's anger used to be my source of comedic relief. But in real life, we can't just laugh it off when anger explodes. So it's time we light our paths in the right direction by conquering the arc, A-R-C, of anger. First is A. We must be aware. Name the real source and break the cycle of displacement by simply asking ourselves questions like, am I frustrated because of my broken umbrella or the rain itself? We take baby steps from misdirecting our anger at easy targets to confronting the true cause. Second is R, redirection. Mothers Against Drunk Driving began with a mother's anger after her daughter, Carrie Leitner, was killed by a drunk driver. But instead of lashing out, she directed her fury into systemic reform, leading to a 43% decrease in drunk driving deaths since the 1980s. You can channel your anger into real change by organizing a petition, joining an advocacy group, or by simply having respectful, empathetic conversations. And finally, is C. Let's take control of the way we consume information so that we can focus on the causes that truly matter. The app, Ground News, lets you filter the news by bias and reliability and compare how the story is being reported across different outlets. By using this app, you are actively avoiding clickbait outrage and making sure your energy is directed towards the most meaningful issues. Anger was my childhood favorite. Back in middle school, whenever I received a bad grade, I would always blame my teachers for being boring. But I was really just angry at my own fear of failure and asking for help. In high school, after another disappointing grade, I remember sitting at my desk, staring at the paper and feeling the familiar heat rise. But this time, I didn't react. I paused and asked myself a question I had never asked before. What am I actually actually angry at. Because when I became aware of the real source, redirected my energy into better habits, and took control of how I responded instead of who I blamed, my anger finally hit the right target. And that is the shift we need to make together. If we want to move forward as a nation, we have to feel real change instead. No matter how much energy or emotion we put into the causes we care about, if we misdirect our anger, scars will be left long after the flames are gone. If we choose wisely, anger won't be used to burn each other down, but rather to light the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire, for sharing with us that very deep and thought-provoking speech. And that was very, very impressive. And wow, you have definitely improved so much in your public speaking skills. And it's really, really wonderful to see what a high level you have gotten to. So wishing you the best of luck in your speech and debate, whatever that entails, and great, excellent speech. Now we are going to be moving on to the table topic session, which will be led by Howard. Take it away, Howard.
Thank you. So for our table topic session, I will be calling on everyone with creative and unique prompts to so everyone can have a speaking opportunity. So the first prompt will be, if you can replace your hands with any object for a day, what are you choosing? And this one will go to Kara.
If I could replace my hand with any object for a day, I think I would choose to replace it with something funny. Because whereas if I choose something more useful, such as scissors or a pencil, I still do not think that would be as useful as simply having hands. So, rather than waste my one chance to have hands that are made of something else by using it on something that could slightly increase my productivity, I would like to instead try out having my hand become something very funny and having people laugh. So I think I would have my hand become a rubber ducky because I think that rubber duckies are adorable and also have that bit of comedic value because of how they are portrayed in media. So I think that if I had the chance to turn my hand into something for one day, I would turn it into a rubber ducky to make everybody around me laugh. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara, that was a very use a very creative prompt. So the next prompt would be, if chairs could rate people based on how they sit, what score would you get? And this one I'm gonna give to Claire.
Thank you, Howard, for the question. If chairs could rate people based on how they sit, I would most likely get a score of 20 out of 10. And that is because, as a frequent chair sitter, my back is always slouched. And when it's slouched, sometimes it's so hunched over that my back doesn't even touch the back of the chair. And because of that, the chair breathes a sigh of relief and says, "Thank you so much, Claire, for not pushing your heavy back on the back of myself." And so now I have so much more time to have my own back rest. And I'm also a frequent couch and bed sitter. I oftentimes will not sit on the hard, concrete, feeling like chair but rather a soft bed with a nice, comfy pillow, 3 stuffed animals, and a fluffy blanket. And so the chair breathes another sigh of relief because I am not spending the majority of my time sitting on that hard chair, but rather I am making the bed and the couch and the other softer furniture, giving them a harsh life. And so the chair, if it were to give me a rating, would probably give me a 20 out of 10 when I'm not sitting on the chair. However, when I do sit on the chair, I will try to maintain a position where my back is not slouched, it is straight up, and I'm not completely leaning on the chair backwards, not or forwards. And that way the chair can live its comfortable life. So hopefully to all the chairs out there, I did not offend you, and I hope you enjoyed the durability of your comfortable chair life. Thank you, and back to you, Howard.
Thank you, Claire. That was really well thought out. The next prompt would be that if your laugh became the national alarm sound, how would society change? And this one goes to Henry.
Sorry, what was the prompt?
The prompt was, if your laugh became the national alarm sound, how would society change?
Society would basically collapse. People always tell me about how my laugh sounds. It usually sounds perfectly fine to me, but like all things, it certainly does not sound fine the moment you listen to a recording. If I did, people would probably dread waking up in the morning just because my laugh was the alarm sound. If this if society would be changed in a certain way, well, society would definitely have to adapt. Either some people would go crazy, or maybe they'd just have to adapt to listening to something, to being annoyed more often, which, to be honest, is a skill that not a lot of people have. So that is, I think, what would happen if my alarm, if everybody's alarm was set to my laugh.
Thank you, Henry. And the next prompt would be, if your pets wrote reviews on you a lot online, what would they be? And this one goes to Hillary. Is Hillary here?
Oh, sorry, my mic was on.
Oh, do you need me to repeat the prompt?
No, I heard it. My mic just wasn't on. Okay. If my pets wrote reviews on me online, I have 2 pets, a cat and a dog. I think to me, it's very obvious that I prefer my cat and I always treat her better. So I believe that my dog will be jealous. And in his reviews, he would always point out how I acted favorably towards the cat and always scolded him. I think my cat would probably also notice this, but since she's a cat, I don't think she would care that much. I love both my pets, but I just love my cat a bit more, and I think that the reviews will reflect this. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Hillary. The next prompt would be if you were arrested for absolutely no explanation, what would your friends assume that you did? And this one goes to Kayla.
If I were arrested for no reason and none of my friends or family knew where I was, they would probably assume I got arrested for my own safety. They would probably assume that I did some crazy stunt or something stupid that I wasn't supposed to do, and they would probably assume that I went to jail, possibly so that they could keep me out of more trouble. So they probably wouldn't worry too much about where I was or whether I was safe because the police would probably take good care of me. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kayla, for that thoughtful answer. The next prompt would be um, if you realize that your life was actually a cheap reality TV show, what would be its title? This one goes to Seren. Is Seren here?
What's the question to me?
Can you please repeat that? I don't think I received it quite well.
What's the question for me?
Yes, that was a question for you. It was if your life was a cheap reality TV show, what would be its title?
If my life was a cheap reality show, then what would its title be?
Uh, Sorry, if you do you have any difficulty responding or
I'm just thinking the title.
oh yeah, no problem. Do you want me to skip you for now and come back to you?
Okay.
Yes. All right. Thank you. No problem. I always often like to think about it, my prompts for my the next prompt would be hold on, let me scroll down. So, if your dreams were actually live streamed to the world, what would people think of you? And this one goes to Eliana.
If my dreams were live streamed to the entire world, people would probably think I'm having a sort of reading session in my brain. Most of the time, I like an actual story with full-on plot and characters and conflict. They must think that is she like reading something in her sleep or thinking about some story? But nope, all of my dreams are made up and not really based on any story. So I think people would have a lot of fun watching my dreams because they're basically like movies, I guess. Since they're based on stories, people will find them really interesting and hopefully stay up all night to watch them. Thank you, and back to you, Howard.
Thank you, Eliana. So the next prompt would be if your socks had personalities, what would they be? And this one goes to Caleb.
I believe one of them would be a red sock and another one would be a green sock. And this is because personalities are like colors. Everyone has a different personality, and socks themselves must have different personalities. After all, think of them. Your left foot moves differently than your right foot because, of course, we are left-handed and right-handed. And this means that each sock will have different experiences, different life experiences that shape them into who they become. The red sock is going to be on my right foot. And then the green sock is going to be on my left foot. But the green and red are just designations of color, because in reality, these socks have different life experiences, even though they are on the same two legs. And this is a lesson for all of us, because everyone may live in the same household, may live in the same city, may live in the same country, just like socks on 2 feet belonging to the same person. But they all have different life experiences, even if they are very minimal differences. At the end of the day, they are different. And that is why we must be careful in making assumptions that that person and those two people, since they have grown up together, since they are in the same household, since they are in the same city or country, they think the same way and they act the same way. Because in reality, they are very different, just as different as red is from green. Thank you very much, and back to you, Howard.
Thank you, Caleb. And Sarai, are you ready to answer yet?
Yeah, I'm ready to answer. I
All right, thank you.
think if my life was a cheap reality show, then its title would be Just Another Day. Because I think if my life was just cheap and I'm not doing nothing extraordinary every day, so I think it would be. So I think every day would be the same things that I would be doing. So I think the title would be Just Another Day.
Have you finished, Sarai?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, thank you. And I believe that would conclude the table topic sessions.
Oh, thank you so much, Howard, for that wonderful table topic session, and you really made us think long and hard about the honest answers to your questions. So thank you very much for sharing. And then we will be moving on to the general evaluation portion, which will be led by Eliana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Caleb. Um, First, I would like to call on the speech evaluator one, who is Caleb. Back to you, Caleb. No, wait. Wait. Kara. Caleb is second. Okay, Kara first.
Thank you, General Evaluator Eliana. Sarang, I want to congratulate you on a very interesting and well-delivered speech. First of all, I know that you had some internet issues, at least on my end, but from what I could tell, you delivered the speech great. You spoke very clearly throughout without really stuttering, hesitating, or taking things back, and all of your points were very easy to follow and understand. Secondly, the way you wrote the speech, I thought that you chose a very interesting topic, whether newspapers are gradually losing their relevance, and reasons why this could happen. I liked the creative points you brought up, such as how there could be an environmental aspect, and how digital news is just so much quicker and more timely than paper news. However, if I were to give you some advice to improve your writing of the speech, I think that it would be better if you could also explore some of the implications of physical newspapers becoming less common. For example, physical newspapers becoming less common means that online it's very easy for advertisements or scams to look like real news. And I think that by talking a bit about implications, this would just tie your speech together more nicely and show why this matters to the audience. And my last piece of advice for you is about physicality. I know that it's sometimes annoying, but it usually tends to look a bit more professional if you have your camera set up so that you are more in the middle of the frame, and if you preferably if you stand up as well, although I'm not doing that right now. And if you could, it would be great if you could also throw in some gestures, although I know one of your hands was taken up by holding your microphone. It would still be possible and good if you could add some gestures. However, overall, I think that it was a really amazing speech. I was really interested and engaged throughout, and it is the first speech that I've heard from you, so I thought that it was great hearing you talk, and you're a very good speaker, and if you just improve by showing why your topic matters to the audience and by improving your physicality, I think that you will become an even better speaker. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator Eliana.
Thank you, Kara. Now on to Evaluator 2, Caleb.
Thank you so much, Eliana. Claire, congratulations on a wonderful speech tonight where you shared about anger and some things we can all do to help to conquer that anger. I really enjoyed your awesome facial expressions, your hand gestures. You even snapped with fire. And other than that, I really liked how you appreciated how you offered solutions to all of us with regards to this particular anger problem. I also really liked your catchphrases. You had a lot of really neat catchphrases like anger doesn't disappear, it ricochets. And I also like the way you used history to look back on certain events that had occurred. And it's a good way to look back within your speech and make the audience look back with you. Lastly, I appreciated how you had a section of the speech devoted to conquering the arc of anger. And of course, you used a clever acronym to describe that particular arc and what that means. Now, some things that you could do to improve. First of all, at the beginning of your speech, I found it a little bit hard to follow what the speech was about. And you spoke a little bit about your mom, your dad, your cat, and you may have been trying to connect with the audience, I'm not sure. But I would experiment with a few other ways to begin your speech because it felt a little bit disconnected with your topic. And I didn't fully understand that you were talking about anger until you got to that part about anger and solutions. Then another idea you could possibly implement would be to begin the speech with sharing something you're angry about. And it doesn't have to be something political or social, it can be something fun. But just start with sharing something about anger and how it makes you angry. That way people already know you're talking about anger. And then at the end of your speech, at the very end of your speech, come back to that same anger point and explain how now you are approaching that. And that way people can see that the suggestions that you are showing in your speech really do have real life implementation. I also like the fact that you used a personal story, which was very memorable and it really brought everyone into the speech. I would suggest that you bring that personal story in a little bit sooner before you mention the arc, because this story will help to prepare the audience for the arc that you're going to describe. And now, lastly, to challenge you, I would challenge you to find a tagline and stick with it throughout the speech. You had a lot of really neat, catchy phrases throughout the speech, and I suggest to really bring your speech up to the next level, find a tagline and use it throughout your speech. And for example, a tagline that you could use was anger doesn't disappear, it ricochets. The problem with that tagline is that it's negative. It's talking about the problem of anger, but it doesn't offer any really solutions. It just describes the quality of anger. So my challenge to you would be to find a tagline in which it's positive. It describes anger, but it also, in a very simple manner, describes how to solve that anger problem in a very simple, catchy tagline. Then insert that tagline in many places throughout your speech, And that's going to really make a very big difference and help people remember everything about your speech. And with that said, congratulations once again on a remarkable speech. I really enjoyed listening to your speech. You were very dynamic, and I think your speech really will go far. So thank you very much, Claire, and back to you, General Evaluator Eliana.
Thank you so much, Evaluator Caleb. Now we will move on to the functionaries. So I would like to call on our all counter, who is Henry.
Okay. So for speaker 1, I only found one pause. For speaker 2, Claire, I found 2 ahs. For table topic session 1, Kara, I found an in the pause. For table topics 2, Claire, I only found the pause. For table topics 3, me, I only found For table topics 4, Hillary, I found and 2 pauses. For table topics 5, Kayla, I found 1 and for table topic 6, Sarong, I found 1 repeat. For table topic 7 and 8, Eliana and Caleb, I didn't find anything. And I didn't find anything for speech 1 and speech 2 evaluators.
Thank you, Henry. Now on to the grammarian's report, which will be done by me as well. For Caleb, Toastmaster Caleb, I didn't hear any awkward grammar, and the same for speaker 1, Sarang. Speaker 2, Claire, you had a lot of great metaphors, which I appreciated, like comparing anger to a short king, which I really like, and like the speed of a tweet, which was also a good metaphor. You also pointed out the differences between a fire, like burning and lighting, which I also thought was cool. For table topics, Master Howard, no awkward grammar. Table topic speaker 1, Kara, no awkward grammar. For table topic speaker Claire, I think I heard a run-on sentence, which sounded like a lot of clauses together. So you might want to break that up a little bit. For the rest of the people, I did not hear any awkward grammar. And it might have been because I wasn't paying attention, because I was writing other stuff for general evaluator, but I'm sure there wasn't anything too bad, so good job, everyone, on really good grammar. And back to you, general evaluator Eliana. Thank you. Now we will go on to our timer evaluation done by Henry.
Okay. So for speech 1, Sarong, I got 2 minutes and 11 seconds. For speech number 2, Claire, I got 10 minutes, 40 seconds. For table topics number 1, Kara, I got 1 minute, 21 seconds. For table topics 2, Claire, I got 2 minutes, 11 seconds. For table 3, Henry, I got 1 minute, 25 seconds. For table topics 4, Hillary, I got 45 seconds. For table topics 5, Kayla, I got 42 seconds. For table topics 6, Sarong, I got 30 seconds. For table topic 7, Eliana, I got 46 seconds. For table topics 8, Caleb, I got 1 minute 40 seconds. For speech 1 evaluator, Cara, I got 3 minutes 16 seconds. For speech 2 evaluator, Caleb, I got 3 minutes 50 seconds. For the all counters report, I got 1 minute 30 seconds. And for the grammarians report, I got 1 minute 30 seconds.
Thank you, Henry. Now I will be giving my general evaluation of this meeting. First, we had 2 great and really impressive speeches today, both very meaningful and deep. I thought they were both really well prepared, and both speakers were very confident. Both speakers also showed interest in their topics and their passion showed through. They were very enjoyable to listen to, and I personally learned a lot. Now, for the speech evaluators, I thought both of them were great. They showed a lot of attention to detail, and their evaluations were filled with helpful tips, suggestions, and challenges, not just about delivery, but about content too. I'm sure both speakers can improve a lot from hearing them. And for the functionaries, Henry did too. So great job there, paying attention and doing a lot of work. And your reports were very good, and you didn't miss anything. So that's all for my general evaluation. And back to you, Toastmaster.
感谢 Eliana 带来的非常精彩的记忆。好，那祝大家中国新年快乐！好，谢谢大家。OK，那我还给这个舞台，交给我们的主席 Eliana。
谢谢 Toastmaster. Well, thank you to all of you who participated today. And I think that was a really great meeting. So before we officially adjourn the meeting, does anyone have any questions, comments, or feedback about the meeting? If so, please open your mic and share your thoughts. The automated subtitles are going crazy with the Chinese. Yes. If there's no one else, well, at a little bit early, 6:55 p.m. Pacific time, I will adjourn this meeting. So thank you everyone for coming and see you all next Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.
下次见，再
拜。
见。对，
新年快乐。
嗯，
Bye.
快乐，再见。
新年快乐！
再见。